Chimes Radio original podcast.
Just imagine if there's a court scene happening and the accused is devil and he has an advocate who's fighting his case, defending him in front of the judge. How does that sound? Too dramatic, right? Or maybe a scene out of a movie? But here we are definitely talking about the figurative meaning of this advocate, which is the devil's advocate. In this episode of Better at Idioms, the devil's advocate will be discussed and we will tell you about the details of this very phrase. Firstly, let's understand the meaning of devil's advocate. Devil's advocate is a person who presents a counter-argument, specifically one who argues against something just to give an unpopular opinion, or that may be someone who's just pretending to be against the idea in order to have the truth come out of the person he's speaking with. Yes, so that is the meaning of the devil's advocate. In common language, if we try to understand that, this phrase describes a situation where a person takes a position which they might not agree with, but present it just for the sake of debating or exploring the situation further. If we understand the origin of this phrase, it came into English language around the 18th century. But originally, this expression is Latin, where it is advocatus diaboli, which describes being contrary just for the sake of it. In Latin, specifically in Vatican records, this phrase diaboli advocatus can be found as back as the 1500s. And first ever time devil's advocate is used in expression was in 1760 text Impostors Detected. It was a funny text where it was mentioned by rising up and playing the true part of the devil's advocate. So when we use this in a sentence, we say, I'm sure you're speaking the truth, but let me play the devil's advocate and ask you a sensitive question so that we understand the situation better. Or we can say, she said she would love to play devil's advocate and find out if there are any drawbacks in our plan. Or the teacher often played devil's advocate with his students so that they could have a fruitful group discussion. So that's how this is used in a sentence. There indeed are many words or phrases that can be used instead of the devil's advocate in a sentence, like an apologist, a defender, a mediator, a pleader, a debater, or simply an arguer. So this interesting idiom today for us in Better at Idioms. For other phrases that we bring to you, listen to more episodes of this podcast and don't forget to like, follow, subscribe and share Better at Idioms podcast.